Hi everyone. Today I'm talking to David Wright, and he's the Greens candidate for the Playford electorate. I'll let David say hello and introduce himself a little bit, and then we'll have a little bit of a chat about the upcoming election. Hi, David.
Hi, Lisa. Yeah, my name is David Wright. I'm the Greens candidate for this state election with Playford. Um, so I've lived in the area for about 30 years. After immigrating from the UK, I worked all my life as an engineer and currently working part-time. Um, so I've got a couple of degrees. So I joined the Green Party about 6 or 7 years ago, and this is the second nomination for the Playford state election. And uh, Quite keen to get get if I was elected, I'd be keen to get certain policies incorporated. Um,
So, did you run in the last state election? That was the
yeah,
previous one. Uh,
yeah. That John Fulbright won that one. I think Greens came third that time. Um, this time there's a lot more candidates.
okay. Um, so, I had a bit of a look on your website, and it says that you have a keen interest in climate change and housing. Did you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. Um, yeah, housing is very important at the moment. There's a nationwide housing shortage, and it affects South Australia and the northern suburbs just as much as anywhere else. So the Greens are very keen to support renters in particular, and they've already put several proposals through the. They've had several proposals that have gone through the government that have been accepted to make life easier for renters, and they want to do more in that area, uh, for example, put caps on renting and other things like allowing renters to have solar panels and pets and various things, and also a portable bond so that when they change their rental, they can take it with them. So the Greens are very much supportive of renters.
How do,
In terms of how, sorry, carry on.
Sorry, how does when you talk about like cap renting, how does that work? Because I've heard a few people talking about that, and my question is, because I may not understand it, is if we cap renting, what happens when the interest rates go up, like for landlords or um, council rates, emergency service rates? What do you mean when it comes to capping?
My understanding, the Greens' policy is to keep it in line with inflation.
Mhm.
What would happen if there were outside pressures like interest rates and stuff? I'm not quite sure, but I think that is their plan to keep it in line with inflation.
Uh-huh.
That would be cost of living inflation.
Right. Mhm.
I understand that might in some cases put pressure on landlords, but renters have had a very bad time of it the last few years, and some of them, really strapped financially because of the increases in renting in rents.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, the other side of the housing issue is building more houses. So the Greens are keen to build more houses, especially affordable housing. Um, so the housing supply hasn't really kept up with demand at all, which is why house prices have gone up so high. So we need to build more houses, and especially cheap housing,
Mhm.
and also in line with energy limiting energy consumption is to make the houses more fuel energy efficient. So make you know like with insulation, double glazing, uh, orientation of the houses to maximize passive uh, cooling, that sort of thing. So so increase the energy efficiency of the housing to like 7-star, 8-star housing as opposed to just the generally inefficient houses they've been building so to date.
And do you mean that in regards to all new builds or public housing, like
Well,
building, or across the board?
um, I guess it would be best across the board, including public housing and private housing. Ideally, would make them have higher standards for building to make them more energy efficient. That would be better. I know there'd be pressure from the builders because it would increase the cost, but it would save the owners money in the long run, where they might spend an extra 30,000 on the house, but they might save much more than that on the heating bills and the cooling bills over the years.
Hmm. Yeah. Have you noticed, like living out around the Elizabeth area or driving through the Elizabeth area? I've noticed lately there's quite a bit of land where they've removed some of the old, the semi-detached houses and the really old housing trust houses.
Yeah.
I've noticed that there's a lot of those blocks sitting there, and they've been sitting there empty for quite some time. So is that
I,
something that you would be advocating for, is to have that land used and get building some public housing on that land?
Sounds like a good idea. I'm not aware of any Greens initiative in that area, but I think it sounds a very good idea. Yeah. I mean, otherwise they're building new houses way up north, aren't they? So a long way from the CBD. So if they can use land near the city would be great. Mm.
Yeah. All right. So in regards to your climate policy,
Yep.
what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's quite important to me. The climate change is playing havoc with the weather, as we've seen lately, like with the algal bloom and the drought we had last autumn and the huge terrible heat wave we had last in January. It's getting bad. It's only going to get worse if we keep burning fossil fuels. So I think the goal should be to move to net zero as soon as possible. I mean, 2050, I suppose that would be reasonable. I suppose to keep in line with sort of what's doable. But I think the idea of building more coal powered stations is silly because coal is more expensive than renewables at the moment, and so I think we can move fully to renewables for energy electricity production, and then uh, gradually improve the efficiency of our cars and move toward electric and hybrid cars.
Mhm.
Um,
You know what I find interesting when we hear in the media about the heat waves, and we're having a heat wave.
yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, we would
Hmm.
sometimes have a week or two of 40 to 45-degree heat, and that was a heat wave.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we have 1 or 2 days that might get to 39, 40, 41, and they declare that a heat wave. That's what I find interesting.
Okay.
It's not yeah, it's all of a sudden we get a little bit of heat wave, and it's sorry, heat, and it's declared a heat wave. But growing up, we would easily have a week long of that sort of heat. Uh,
Yeah.
that's what I find interesting. Um,
Well, I suppose there's a technical definition of a heat wave, like sort of
yeah.
5 days of 35 or more or something.
Uh-huh.
But I think generally, I wasn't brought up in South Australia, so I can't comment. But I think generally the average temperature is climbing. I mean, when we came here, I think they said the average maximum was about 28 in summer. But I mean, like last year was in January, it was like 33 on average or something.
Okay.
But I mean, to me, it seems hotter. Maybe you were a child here, so you've had experienced things differently. But for me, I think the science generally shows that temperatures are going up. It's not always everywhere, it's sort of, but on average, over the planet, it's growing up, increasing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, what types of things are you hearing from the community when you're out campaigning or speaking to the locals? What are the types of things that they are finding challenging at the moment?
Well, one lady I spoke to, she said her problem was health. Like she went to hospital and she was kept in a bed in the corridor for a whole day or something, and had to go home again. So I think that's a major issue that some people are concerned about, and we need to spend money on health to improve, doctor and nurse to patient ratios and things like that, and more beds, stuff like that. It's one issue that seems quite of concern to people.
Yeah, there appears to be long waiting lists, whether you're going into ED or whether you're waiting lists for surgery.
Yeah,
Um, it just and, you know, it's only to be expected, I think, as the population increases. Um, you know, if we look back to 10 or 20 years ago, we have a larger population now, but we haven't really increased the services to keep up with the demand.
is that right? Mm.
So, yeah. Um, what
But,
other things?
well, like rent, for example, rent is an issue with many people. Like the rents have gone up a lot, and they have trouble getting finding a rental. Um, there's not many rentals available, and what there are is more expensive. So that's another issue that's affecting a lot of people.
Mhm.
And I guess there's other things to do with health, like ramping, and is another issue that is very bad at the moment. And the Greens have a plan to deal with ramping, but um, uh, I think from memory, what they're going to do, one of the things they're going to do is have some kind of interim facility between the ambulances and the hospital. They could sort of stay there until beds were available.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not fully across the details of their ramping policy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, it's certainly been an ongoing problem, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So have you got any forums or events coming up where members of the public can go out and meet you? Or I don't know, have you done a launch? Have you got a launch coming up? Um, how can people connect with you? Do you do street corners or are you door knocking?
I haven't done a great deal of that. No, I've done some door knocking. Um, yeah, I haven't done a lot of that. Sorry. Good point. So I should do that. Mm.
The people that you're speaking to, do they tend to are they reflecting that they want to see some change? Um, you know, we're seeing a lot across social media, um, and I hear at a lot of forums that people are looking for some change, moving away from perhaps the two major parties and
I
looking
agree.
for
I
something
think that's been fairly apparent for quite a few years, is that people are getting fed up with the two major parties. Like last election, there was more votes for the minor parties, including the Greens, and it looks like it's heading even more in that direction this election.
else.
So people are generally fed up with politics and as you say, uh, looking for some kind of change. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, yeah, I find that a lot of people, most people I talk to, are exhausted. They're
Hmm.
exhausted for trying to navigate systems that just seem to keep them going around in circles. They find it hard to get outcomes for things. They're forever waiting for services. They're struggling with their rent, the cost of living. I think people are just really tired. People are fed up, and they're just looking for something different, looking for some change.
All right. Yep. I guess you see a lot of that, wouldn't you, since you're involved so much as a community person.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, it's really hard.
mm.
Um, all right. Is there anything else that you want to say to people if people are watching? And what, first of all, do you want to perhaps mention the seat of Playford? Would you want to mention some of those areas that that covers?
Right. I suppose the main suburb is Parafield Gardens. So it's sort of like it's sort of west of the railway line that divides Mawson Lakes. West of there, in a sort of triangular area, including part of Mawson Lakes and Parafield Gardens, mostly. Um, it's a sort of a diverse area, I think, quite various ethnic groups. Um,
Does that reach out into Salisbury? Is that up to
um,
Salisbury?
it crosses Salisbury Highway, so mid the southern part of Salisbury, perhaps.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the community that are watching, and especially if they're in the Playford electorate? Um, Anything you'd like to share with them, or um, ask them, is it if they want to reach out to you, if they'd like to support you, what would you like to say to the community?
Yes, if you want to talk, I'm happy to talk and discuss any issues you may have.
Mhm.
Um, um,
If they want to support you, the best way for them to reach out to you is via the website. Is that correct?
I have an email address. Is is the email address on the website? Um, but the email address was david.wright at um, sa.greens.org.au. So if you send me emails by that way, I'm very happy to discuss any issues you may have.
All right, so when I put the video up onto YouTube, I'll put the
Yep.
link to the website and I can put your email address if you like.
Yes. Thank you.
And that way anybody watching can
Yeah.
go straight to that for the details.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Is it
All right.
anything else you'd like to say before
Well, thank
we
you, Lisa, for the opportunity to talk, and thank you for being a good host. And I hope people will consider the Greens as an alternative to the major parties, because we're sort of very caring and concerned that people have a good quality of life, and we're also we're not beholden to major sponsors. So it's it's more about what the public need rather than what the sponsors want. So we'll have your interests at heart.
uh-huh. Wonderful. All right. It's nice to meet you, David, because we've not met
Yep.
before. So it's
Yep.
nice to meet you and thanks
Nice
for coming on.
yes, thank you, Lisa, very much.
Thanks, David.
Thanks.